Hello everyone! This story is part of a series titled The Seattle Jijinas. This week, I would like to share what it was like to try and go out on the first date and being part of a family whose culture saw dating in a very different way. Welcome to Storytime with Kumars. My name is Kayo Jijina, and this is my story titled The Almost First Date. I hope you enjoy it. The common room at Northgate State College was buzzing with excitement as the French Fry Club made plans for Saturday night. A small group was getting together to go bowling. We would meet at Liz's home up on Capitol Hill. Her home was beautifully decorated, where one could entertain family and friends, the type of home I dreamed of living in someday for myself. Hanging out in the common room, I got to know a young woman about my age, with wavy auburn hair, freckles, and a cute smile. She was pretty, sweet, and easy to talk to. Her name was Anne. At some point, her father bought her an Audi Fox to drive herself to and from school, with explicit instructions she wasn't to use it as a taxicab to give others rides. One day, we decided to skip school, played on the swings, and walked on the beach. I enjoyed spending time with her. There was an attraction building, at least in my mind, and I decided to ask her out. At the age of 19, I was still not sure how to go about something of this nature because I had never done it before. There was the fear of rejection and the pressure of telling my parents I was going out on a date. My mind flashed back to high school when a girl by the name of Lynn asked me out to her senior prom. We met in swimming class. I mentioned the prom to mom and dad and they said no right away. It was not proper for a girl to ask a boy out on a date. Dad said it was best to focus on my studies. After which mom got into her diatribe about American girls being too fast. Best to wait and they would find me a nice Parsi girl from India. Lynn offered to meet mom and dad if that might help things, but I was too embarrassed to let it happen. I procrastinated asking Anne as long as I could. Finally, Friday afternoon arrived. I was still searching for the words of courage. The day was almost over. As Anne got up and began to pack her things, I realized it was now or never. "Hey, can I walk you to your car?" I asked. "Great," came the response. As we made our way to the parking lot, which was located between the college and I-5, I asked if she was going to the party. She said she was thinking about it. I followed it up with, "Should we go together? I could give you a ride." She said that would be nice, and we set up a time for 6:30. For me, that was about as close as I could get to asking someone out on a first date. As Anne drove out of the parking lot, my heart was beating. I had done it and survived. The mind was racing to tie up loose ends. I left hanging. Asking Anne was the easy part, now the parents. There was the issue also of working Saturdays for Dad with the family construction business. Finally, Saturday evening rolled around. Brother and I negotiated a 5 o'clock stop work time. That would give me enough time to get home, showered, and ready. I asked to borrow the car, and the questions rolled in. "Why do you need the car? What are you going to do? Where will you be going?" I explained a group of friends and I were going bowling, that I would be driving up to the Capitol Hill neighborhood of Seattle to meet them. Right away, Dad did not think that was such a good idea. To Dad, a party meant there would be drinking. I explained even if there was alcohol, I did not drink. "Son, the temptation is too much. And if you have a car, that means driving other people around. No, Baba, that is not a good idea." My excuses were running low. Finally, I was faced with no other option but to speak the truth. Perhaps if they knew someone was counting on me, they might understand and change their mind. "Dad, I have a date. I asked this girl out, and I need to pick her up in about a half hour. Could I please borrow the car?" After a long pause, Dad responded with, "No, son. What is the hurry to date? You need to first focus on your studies and finish school. When you are done with school, then think about all these things. Now, it will only serve as a distraction." Hearing the word date, it did not take Mom long to get into her diatribe. Deja vu. I was living the Lynn experience all over again. The conversation went on for a while without really changing the bottom line. Finally, I asked, "Are you saying I can't borrow the car?" "No, sir, you cannot borrow the car." My heart sunk down to my feet, and my spirits even lower. I was frustrated. I needed to get my own car. This back and forth went on a little longer until I saw no other option and gave up. I found it difficult to call Anne and apologize for last-minute debacle and explained what had happened. She sounded understanding, or at least I hoped she was. I also understood the possibility of dating Anne was out the window. Anne and I remained friends. We hung out, and eventually she stopped coming to school. One day, out of the blue, I received a call from her. She and a guy she met at college had moved in together. She asked me if I wanted to come over to the apartment for a visit, and we set up a time. I was confused. I remembered the guy, who we will call Fred. Fred had a David Cassidy look to him, in the way he wore his hair and the smile he carried. He seemed like a nice enough guy to me. One day, Anne confided in me that she was a little uncomfortable with Fred because he sold drugs. Yet now she was living with him. This made no sense to me, and I had to see for myself. After arriving at the apartment, I learned Fred was not there. Anne mentioned Fred kept a .22 caliber rifle behind the door. Our visit had to be short because when Fred returned, I could not be there. This felt really strange to me. Why was I asked to come in the first place? Was there something she wanted to tell me but couldn't? My mind kept wondering, why was she here in the first place? Either way, the whole thing seemed really bizarre to me. Finally, it was time to leave. Fred would be coming home soon, and I was relieved. But that feeling that something was not quite right has stuck with me to this day. A year or so later, Mom stopped me in the hallway as I was about to head out with another group of friends. "I know you are dating girls, so go ahead, just be careful. Just don't do anything I wouldn't." I couldn't resist the moment. My smart aleck self came out. Then I had nothing to worry about. Laughing, I made a dash for the door with Mom chasing after me. She got in a good smack as I finally made my exit.